are looking at and interviewing the worst student that ever walked on this planet.
The Hendrickson family name in Jamaica involves the Continental Baking Company Limited, most of the hotels on the island, CV Chicken, and much more. This week on the TrailBlazers, I have a chat with Gary Butch Hendrickson, Chairman and CEO of Continental Baking Company Limited, known for popular brands like National, HTB and Homade. Stick around, it promises to be quite a fruitful discussion. Gary Craig Hendrickson, more popularly called Butch, serves as Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Continental Baking Company Limited and Coconut Bay Beach Resort and Spa in St. Lucia. He is the current Chairman of the Board at the Exim Bank, is a Vice President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, and is a member of the Board of Directors of the Bank of Jamaica, Rainforest Seafoods and Stationery and Office Supplies Limited. He also sits on the King's House Foundation and serves as President of the Council of Voluntary Social Services. He is a past Director of Deno and Geddes Limited and Kingston Wharves Limited. Mr. Hendrickson attended Miami Military Academy and Fordham University and has been a member of the American Society of Bakery Engineers for 30 years. Continental Baking Company is a leading provider of baked goods such as breads, buns, crackers, and snacks in Jamaica, and is most popularly known for its brands National, HTB and Homade. The Butch Hendrickson-led company provides employment for over 800 persons in Jamaica. Mr. Hendrickson actively participates in programs focused on early childhood education and local manufacturing in Jamaica, and is a major contributor to charities such as Mustard Seed Communities, Laws Street Trade Training Center, Food for the Poor, and the St. Patrick's Foundation, among many others. Some of his major awards include National Award Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander, the Gleaner Honors Award for Business, the AmCham Award for Civic Leadership, the Carlton Alexander Award for Excellence, American Friend Humanitarian Award, inducted into the PSOJ Hall of Fame, the Jamaica Observer Business Leader Award, Honorary Doctor of Business Administration degree from the UCC, Honorary Doctor of Laws degree from the University of Technology, Distinguished Alumnus Award from the Jamaica College Old Boys Association of New York, and many others. Hi, Mr. Hendrickson, a pleasure to have you on the TrailBlazers. Such a respected, well-known businessman. It's an honor.
Thank you, Tamara. Nice to be with you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, so I'm jumping right into your story because I, of course, was doing some research, and of course, you are known in Jamaica. In terms of the family business, was that always your aim to continue your grandfather's legacy and to continue the baking business?
Yes, I was born into the business basically, and it's something I actually do enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and happily also I enjoy eating a lot of bread, which is probably not a very good thing at my age, and I probably shouldn't say that in that I sell bread. But as a matter of fact, since I've been in quarantine and not having access to all of the products, I've lost about 4 pounds. But I'll put that back on, don't worry. I always love the business. It is just part of me, and I hope I've done it well. I've tried to take grandfather's legacy and my father's legacy and try to improve upon it over the years. And as an aside, I must tell you that the generation of managers at National now have done very, very well without me being there. And I'm considering if they will let me back into the place. I'm not sure. So if I go in and I can't access my office, I will take it as a great hint, get back in the car and leave.
I don't think that will happen though. Well, walk us through your experience growing up. You know, as you mentioned, your grandfather had his legacy and you continued that business. You know, talk to us about what the experience was like for you growing up.
Well, I grew up in what I refer to nowadays as a baker family. I didn't see much of my father because the only thing he knew how to do was work. We saw him on the weekends. We saw Dad on the weekends, not until the afternoons on Saturday, because he would always go to the plant on Saturday. Even long after he wasn't involved in the plant, I don't think he could stop going down the 45 halfway tree road. It was just part of him, and no, he doesn't do that anymore, obviously. He, I think it's a matter of distance. I tease him because my sister's office is closer to his home, so he'll stop there. He might stop at the Pegasus and then he turn around and go back up, because from the Pegasus to National is a really long distance, as you know, and there's just too much traffic on Oxford Road. But he hasn't really been active in the plant for 20 odd years now. And as I said, it's just me. I grew up in a bakery family, but not an ordinary bakery family. I had an education that couldn't be bought anywhere. I had experiences that could not have been bought anywhere. Some of them I don't wish to repeat because they were painful. I got injured a couple of times in the plant. And no, I don't have very fond memories of those. But I do have memories of the association with the Continental Baking Company of the United States. At that time, they were the owners of the Wonder Bread line and Hostess, Twinkies, and things like that. That was their line, and they were actually partners with my family for many years. They bought shares in the company, a minority shareholding, back in the late 60s, 68, 67, 68, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Just either late 67, early 68. Out of that, a technology transfer took place, which is a natural thing to do. The single greatest beneficiary of that was me, because I got to meet people that they're no longer alive, but I got to meet people who were the preeminent engineers, bakery engineers of their time. And luckily, I actually soaked it up like a sponge. I learned from them. And I'll tell you, Tamara, it wasn't until many years later I realized what I had learned. Because let's face it, at 17 and 18, we know everything already, you know. Well, that is when we were at our smartest. And we know everything. But I really appreciated what I had picked up over the years, not only just in the plant, in terms of making the product, but engineering the plant, understanding why things worked the way they did, and how to fix it, and sometimes how to improve on those say, just a transfer of product, the transfer of the bread, the dough, the pans, when they're filled and when they're empty, to bring them back to the front of the plant, you know, conveyors. We built all of those ourselves. And as I said, I'd help to have it done, but I never really appreciated what I was doing, even though I enjoyed doing it. I didn't understand. And then nowadays I find a lot of things come kind of naturally to me, and I have to be very careful because it's assumed that everybody has had that experience. And every now and then I find myself saying, yo, hold on, back off, Butch. That's not fair. I mean, you started doing this thing when you were in diapers. People just can't come in here in their mid-20s and know what you know. It's not possible. They'll know more than I do, but they won't know as much as I know about a specific part of the plant or the operation part of the plant. No, if you start talking about accounting, they will always know what I know. I'm the worst ever, and that I will concede. I don't do very well at things like that.
Okay, awesome. And I wanted to backtrack a bit to what you said, though, in terms of the fact that your father worked very hard, but unfortunately you only saw him maybe once a week. Did that in any way impact you growing up, not having him around visibly?
No. I think we understood, but put it this way. My parents have been married for 69 years on their next anniversary. So I grew up in a wonderful, very strong household. And you don't realize that you really didn't have him around a lot because there were other things going on. You know, my grandparents were still alive, grandfather, grandmother, and my mother's mother, who came to live in Jamaica for a while, she was there, had a whole bunch of family around. So it was I think the word today is a support system.
Yes.
But it was an unspoken thing. So you didn't say, "Oh, well, hi, I'm your support system."
Yeah.
It was just you as a child. What would you know? You took it for granted, and you were blessed without knowing you were blessed. So it was okay. It was a good time. But he always, you know, we'd get a week in go to Ocho those days for a week during the summer holidays. A big deal. I had a grand aunt who lived in Mandeville, so that was a big deal, going up to Mandeville for a couple of weeks in the summer. And those are great memories, you know.
So having that experience though, do you think it impacted you as a businessman? Did you embody some of those traits in your family life where you probably spent most of your time at work? Or did you try to create more balance in your life?
Oh, I've done an awful job of creating balance. Unfortunately, the gene pool is a little bit too deep. And I enjoy my work. That's the other thing. I look forward to going to work. I look forward to going to work tomorrow for a lot of reasons. One, and probably most importantly, you have a reason to go to work. That is to get the business running. But because of the great fortune I've had to have wonderful people to work with over the years, I actually look forward to going to work. It's not, sometimes you just don't feel like it. If I don't feel like it, I have a temperature.
Awesome.
Right? Or there's something wrong with me. So someone might say, well, wait a minute, he has no life. And what are you doing here, Butch? You have no life. Well, maybe this is our life. Yes. It's just our life. How do you explain a single mother who is going to work 2 jobs right through, and then on the weekend she does all the washing and all those things? How do you explain to her that she needs to make some time? Make some time for what? Yeah. As I said, individually we must make up our mind where our goals are, and sometimes you have to be pretty single-minded about it. There are things I do today. There are new products coming out at National soon, new machinery being installed right now, as you sit there and I sit here, and space is being made to accommodate all those new piece of equipment. And there's a single-minded purpose behind getting them done, because we know from experience, if we say tomorrow, well, it never happened. Huh? So everything is in the know. It's well planned. It's thought out. You know? It's not this what they call shoot, ready, aim. We plan it and down to a fair degree of I tell you, we plan down to the position of the plug on the wall, and extra electrical outlets on top, because our new operations, as we improve the plant, we don't want any electrical wires on the ground. Everything must come from the ceiling down, so nobody can trip over them, and sanitation and keep it sanitary, things like that. So it's a fair amount of planning. So I said very quickly, there's a certain single-mindedness to that, because I know and I've experienced it, and I've been guilty of it, as guilty as anybody else. If you don't get single-minded and push certain things, they never get accomplished.
Yes, you have to be resolute in your purpose. That's
right. And you have to put a timeline on it. That must be done by.
Yes. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based.
Yes. My good friend Glenn Christian always says to me, he said, what gets measured gets done.
That is so true.
And he's right. He's right.
I wanted to touch on the fact that your family has done well overall. I mean, we were having a little talk at the top of, this interview, and just the fact that, you have brothers and sisters that own all of the hotels in the CV business, and of course, you doing well with your, Continental. What do you think attributed to the fact that you were able, your family was able, and you yourself was able to take things to a whole nother level and to become as successful as you have in various, fields? What was the secret ingredient?
I'm gonna say it is a majority of that would be your family and what you saw and the examples you follow. As far as your education is concerned, you are looking at and interviewing the worst student that ever walked on this planet. My parents tried in vain, and I mean vain in capital letters, underlined and circled, to give me where they allowed me, and they gave up what they had to give me the best education that I could possibly have. What did I do with that education when I went to university? Nothing. And if you look at my my bio, you'll see things like attended Fordham. No, I was registered at Fordham. Attending is a whole different thing outside of registration. Worst student. Am I sorry? Yes, because I know that fact, because I watched Laurie and Kevin and Kathy. They approach things in a different way. They all did their schooling. They were all attentive students, and they actually went to class, every one of them, unlike me. And I've watched them over the years approach things differently than I had, and they were right. I was wrong. But I think, luckily, I've learned not to repeat the same mistakes twice. So it's all right to make a mistake once. Beg you, not do it again.
Yes. And I actually probably beg to differ where you said maybe that you regret in terms of not maybe paying more attention to your academic studies, because one of the things that I found from interviewing other, well-accomplished businessmen and businesswomen like yourself, and also hearing their stories, a lot of times they don't necessarily need to be all, scholarly, or all academic to be successful in business.
I think that's true. That's more than just, that's not conjecture, that's true. However, there are certain basic things you should have. You should have a good working knowledge. If you want to do a business in Jamaica, and I'm going to use my experience here. If you don't mind, Tamara, I chair the Exim Bank in Jamaica. And month after month after month and after month, Mrs. Bell, the managing director, and her staff present things, loans for consideration that have to be approved by the board, or at least by a committee of the board. That committee now will meet and look at the applications. And the thing that is missing so much in almost every single application, especially by the small businesses, is a proper business records. So a banker looks at it and says, well, tell me where you're going with this. And I don't think in many cases it's that people don't want to keep them. I think in many cases people don't know how to keep them. They don't know how to keep them. I've met a whole bunch of small business people through a program that National runs called the Bold Ones.
Yes.
And I've met a lot of them, and I've watched them grow over the years. And I've said to them, after a couple of years, you're going to have a problem soon. You're going to run out of money. And you almost see, well, I can't run out of money because I'm making profits. Yes, but you're going to run into a cash flow problem where your inventory demands get greater, and your raw material costs are going to soar on the inventory side. As you get bigger and start to distribute on a wider market, your receivables, the money that is owed to you, is going to be out there for a longer time. You will no longer be in the cash on delivery business, and then all sorts of things start to kick in. And I'll tell you this, unfortunately, I've been right every time.
Wow.
You say, well, I thought you were an awful student and you didn't go to school. No, I didn't go to school, but I watch it happen to so many businesses. Even at National, as that expanded, I heard the term cash flow. And what the heck is a cash flow? Where is that river? No, it's not that. It's a cash flow, doing well, but you run out of money because you have to buy more spare parts for your equipment. You have to buy more raw materials for your increased production. At the same time, your customers are not paying you cash. And you're paying in many cases, and it is well known in the bakery business, well known, that there are certain ingredients, like almost every single major ingredient in the baking business for bread is COD. And if you're very fortunate, you will get 7 days credit, and that's it. And your customers want 14 and they want 28. And you can see when you get that gap, then you have a problem.
Wow. And then speaking of cash flow, how important is money in not only achieving the quality of life that you desire, but also, to make things possible? How important is it? And for those who don't have money but want to have money, what key habits do they need to develop? What key things do they need to be doing to change their life?
On the last one, I will tell you, if I knew the answer to that one, I could do everything. I would be the happiest person in the world. But I can only give a little bit of advice. And again, I'll just steal from somebody else's things that people have said. My namesake, Butch Stewart, has always said, and this is another one I took to heart, that the only time you get success before work is in the dictionary. I don't know any other way. I'm sure there are some lucky individuals that got by that, but I think it's a lot of hard work. I can tell them that. And you go back to your single-mindedness. You have focus on what you want. Ask. And that's another thing, ask. Tamara, I've always told people that my greatest strength is I don't know. I know what I don't know. I know what I don't know. And I've gotten older. I'm not afraid to ask because I no longer have that silly idea that I'd be embarrassed to ask a question. Because there are so many people willing to share knowledge with you. And there are some people who don't want to share the knowledge. All right, fine. Just look somewhere else. There are people who need the help. And I've said to I know a lot of SMEs. I just know them. I mean, I get calls from them and we speak. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. You'll know instinctively if somebody wants to help you. If they mean you well. So that's the way, and there's so much knowledge in the world today. You and I are speaking in a manner that we could never have dreamt of 20 years ago, right? And today we're worrying about, how much pixels we have on this camera because you have to put this over, with it transfer, with it go, wherever it is you're putting this video. We wouldn't have thought about that before. And so we have all the knowledge and there's so much information at our fingertips. The kids used to, I think they've kind of stopped now. Dad, what is this? My answer, go look it up. You poor child, go on your computer and look it up. I used to have to go to a library and take out the encyclopedia. That alone was exercise. No, they just flip. They don't have to go. They just
take out your phone.
That's all they need. That's all they need. They just go. So I think that today's world, you have a lot of knowledge available. You have a lot of information. And with that, you have a lot of opinions that you can, if you really want to get down into the nitty-gritty, you can go and see what people say about things.
And we're winding down, but I have to touch on, zooming back on you closely in terms of your experience. What would you say has been the highest point of your career, and what would you say has been the lowest point of your career?
Oh, that's a tough one. The high points, there are too many of them. So satisfying. Now you get to me thinking, I'm going to have to pick
one.
All right, I'm going to pick something. The success of the Bold Ones program.
Yes.
Okay? The success of that program to me was kind of a validation of the things I had thought about and wanted to do, because I thought we could help small manufacturers. And I am very biased towards manufacturers, naturally. And I think there's so much more that can be done. So I have not hit, if I could achieve what it is, if I could achieve a half of what I'd like to achieve, where MSEs and small manufacturers, and the micro manufacturers are concerned, that will be the high point. That will be the high point. And I know here, if anybody from the family sees this and say, oh, no, what about us? The low point, don't know. I really can't tell you. I don't think about things in lows. And right now, I think our job at National is to ensure that customers continue to get the service that they expect of us. And without them, we'll be nothing. Without the customers, we'll be nothing. Nothing. You know, you have two assets. The number one asset is the customer base. The second asset is the staff. And really everything else you can replace. Because if you do well with one and two, then you can buy the new equipment, a new mixer, a new oven, new technology. And if you take that now into account, then you look after number one and two again. It's a cycle. That's a short cycle for me. So that in a nutshell is my life done.
Mr. Hendrickson, who or what inspires you, pushes you to continue to move forward, or has inspired
as I've gotten older, and this is going to sound so corny, what has inspired more than anything else? The Jamaican people. Especially the ones I know well. And that starts in all stratas of society. That inspired me. I will tell you, in many strata, there's a lot of disappointment too. But then you and I, that's another show, right? But really, Jamaicans, because they have been so good to us over the years. They have trusted us so much. I'm honored that we could earn the trust of the Jamaican population for so long. And so therefore, it is now my life's work now to complete it, just to try and ensure that we never betray that trust tomorrow. Because that took 68 years to build, and years before, my grandfather had the bakery in Magati. So it's been a while, and I think the family has been in the baking industry close to 100 years, and it's something I want to research, because I'll be very interested, but I haven't really put my mind to it, but I'm going to do that soon. And I have to ask questions before the people with the answers are no longer with us, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, so, but I'm going to do that. But they've trusted our family for many, many, many years, and many, many generations of Jamaicans have done it. And we have found a great success in the export markets for United Kingdom, Canada, and United States. And the base of all those markets that we've had are all Jamaican people. So, here we go again. True, we've crossed over into mainstream England, especially, and a lot of the products do go to what we call mainstream, not necessarily Jamaican people. But by and large, the Jamaicans have made us what we are.
Okay, and my penultimate question, and there is even a scripture in the Bible, in Proverbs, that says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. How important is it to create generational wealth and leave a legacy for your family and for your children?
I think the legacy you can leave to your children are some values. And those values are largely shaped by their own intentions. You can set an example, and they will have to choose what to follow. You can leave all the money in the world. If they don't have the first two in line, it'd be worthless to them. It'd be worthless to them. I think the legacy of National, and the legacy of, maybe if I may be so bold, Butch Hendrickson, is that I try to do as much as I can or could for other Jamaicans, especially other Jamaican manufacturers. Because to go back to business for a little bit, Tamara, I think the creation of a very strong small business environment in Jamaica, the growth of the numbers of those owners and people will start to create wealth at a different level. And I think the country lacks the creation of wealth. And we have been totally, in my opinion, unsuccessful in doing it. I don't want anybody to try to convince me that we're little but we're Talawa. Yes, we are in some things. In other things, we have failed our forefathers. And I say that without apologies. And I will debate it without apologies, right? Because we could have done better for ourselves.
You are known for your philanthropic efforts. Why is that so important, to pay it forward?
That I can't explain. I can't explain that. I just think it's something that when you can do it, you should do it. If you want self-satisfaction, if that's your goal in life, you give a good school, you put up a good school, help kids, help small businesses. That is indescribable. I think the MasterCard advertisement said priceless. It's priceless. It is really priceless. It's priceless when I go down and I talk to Monsignor Ramkosu and Sister Benedict Chung down at Law Street. Andrew food for the poor, what they've been able to do. Things like that. That's important to me because it's kind of me saying, okay, the country has been good to me. What can I do to say, hey, thank you? That's all it is. It's kind of a thank you. And at the same time, I just don't want to see another generation of Jamaican children suffer substandard education. They don't have to. Not necessarily.
Last question to you, because our viewers, they respect you, they look up to you. So any parting advice, any parting encouragement to those who are looking on, who want to become successful in whatever industries or careers that they're in, and they look up to you as that, that big wig that's doing it. What's your word to them?
Well, I have to go back to the hard work is going to help a lot. Commitment. And commitment is painful at times. Commitment is painful when others around you seem to be having a really good time, and here you are at work. Understand the business that you are working in, whether you own it, well, you really need to understand it, or you're working in it. Understand what it does. Understand its demands. If you're in the hotel business, you have no life. If you're in the bakery business, you have no life. If you're in the supermarket business and you run 7 days a week, you don't have a life. And if you work in those businesses as an employee, you won't have much of a life either. But you must know that going in. If you're in the hotel business, I laugh about it. As a matter of fact, I always laugh about it. In that, when you're successful in the hotel business, then you realize how tough it is because your customers don't go home. And even more so, when you're in the all-inclusive business, some of them don't go out. So it's not a hotel like maybe what the Courtly is, or to a much less extent the Pegasus is. I come to Kingston, I'm on a business trip. I want breakfast and I'm gone. I might come back for dinner, but in Jamaica, if you have a representative down for business, Jamaican people, they're either taking you to dinner or they're taking you home to the house, because that's the way we are. It's not like in the States. I know every night if I'm on a business trip, I better find a restaurant or decide to eat at the hotel. Well, Jamaicans are not like that. We're not made up that way. There's just something about us that's not explainable, and we shouldn't try and change that. That's one of the great things about us we must hang on to. So, in the all-inclusive business, they wake up in the morning, they have breakfast, then they go to the pool or the beach or they do whatever it is. Some will go on tours, some may not go on tours. But guess what happens? Every single night, you have them. They don't go home. The supermarket business, 7 days a week, right? The bakery business, same thing. It doesn't have any respect for your time. So you have to plan or decide. If that's what you want for yourself, then that's what you do. Know that going in, and life won't be as hard. You have to accept certain things.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hendrickson. We appreciate you being on the program. I appreciate you being on the program and sharing with our viewers. And no doubt they will be inspired and continue to be a trailblazer.
Thank you, Tamara. You keep on doing this. I hope you're super successful at it. It's not a matter of just getting good words out to Jamaica. And I think sometimes we need a wake-up call. And when people who are a bit fortunate like myself can tell people to wake up sometimes, it's not all roses out there. There are tough times. And I tell you what, you take COVID as an example. What a wonderful equalizer. My gosh. If you want to equalize in life, I don't care how rich you think you are, how wealthy, how successful. The COVID virus does not recognize it. So we all have to be careful, and we all have to know more than ever before, look out for each other.
Yes.
And have really respect for each other to look after ourselves, because we can infect others. All right? That's important. Super important.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's an honor. Thank you.
And the honor is mine also.